All right, there we go. What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome for the first time, depending on who you are, to Drums and Drams Thursday night live stream, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Getting everything set up here. All right. So let me make sure my mic is good. I think everything is... Yeah, looking at the chat here. I think we're good to go here. So... yeah, I've been filming some stuff right before this, so I'm a few pours deep already. So we'll see how tonight goes. I don't have a rehearsal tomorrow morning. Usually I have rehearsals in the morning on Fridays pretty often, and tomorrow night I actually have one at 7 p.m., which kind of sucks. Don't get my Friday night, but, you know, we'll see how tonight goes. Maybe I'll be grateful to not have a morning rehearsal. Anyways, I've got some new bottles to taste on tonight's live stream. Jay, you're killing me, man. I've got some new bottles to taste on tonight's live stream, and I've got some comparisons to do as well. And I think that's what's going to be the fun part this evening. It's sort of like what I did last week, where I tasted a few different things, a few new pickups, and then I put them into context, you know, within some flights to kind of see how they compare to things that are already out on the market right now. And this kind of setup is something that I think I'm finding that I enjoy quite a bit, you know, as opposed to just marathon tasting 10 new bottles and feeling like I have to go pop things open and everything like that. To really dig into 3 or 4 of them, put them into some flights, to some comparisons or whatever, kind of go from there and then just see where the night goes. There's no shortage of words. You guys know that I have no shortage of words. I can go and go and go. So I can spin 2, 3, 4 bottles out into an evening, and hopefully it doesn't feel too stale. And if it ever does, please let me know. So anyways, I'll check the chat here in just a second. First and foremost, let me know what's in your glass. If you don't have something in there, that's cool. If you are going to imbibe tonight, you know, go grab a bottle. Let me know what you're grabbing. Let me know what you're sipping on. Cheers to everybody that's hanging out this evening. Whew. Interesting. Let me get this banner going. We're not going to do a giveaway tonight. I thought I was going to do a giveaway tonight. Guys, I just want to get back to more regular stuff before I do giveaways. I don't want it to seem like it's, you know, some sort of money grab or whatever. So if you do want to support the channel, as always, liking and subscribing are the best ways to do it. For those of you in here right now, 32, hopefully we get some more people in here, and the best way to do that is for everybody that's in here right now to hit that like button. So please do that. It's cheap, free, easy. And if you're not subscribed, and if you watch some of the live stream right now, if you watch the replay, and you find yourself at least semi-enjoying it, you know, think about subscribing. That would be awesome. And if you guys really want to go the extra mile, always, you know, super chats are a great way to financially support the channel. So, okay. Let me get into the chat here, and then we'll get into the bottles tonight. Those bottles are, as you saw in the thumbnail, the 3 new bottles I've picked up, courtesy, 2 of them at least, Fox and Oden 1792, courtesy of my friend Josh H., who is local here. He was up in Michigan and found these. So first up, let's see if we get this thing to focus. Come on. Yeah, there we go. It's gonna do it. So Fox and Oden straight bourbon whiskey. This thing is a 99 proofer, a blend of 8 to 15 year MGP. All right. $100. So this is going to be 1 bottle. The next one, some of you probably know this. Oh, that ring light is... I have like a little ring light for just some extra lighting in front of me here. It's not a primary by any means, but you can see that on the bottle. Sorry about that. But this is a 1792, age 12 years. Take a look at that, and I'll tell you about what the comparisons will be in a second. And then the third new bottle for me is going to be this Bardstown Origin Series, okay? And this one in particular is the wheated bourbon, and it is bottled in bond, but it's not just 4 years old. It is age dated at 6. So that's great. So I'll tell you more about that in a second, about all of the comparisons and things we're going to do with those, which I think, hopefully, you'll find interesting. And maybe you can do some of them along with me. So Daniel says, I've been curious about Fox and Oden, but nervous it was going to be a letdown like the latest cigar blends. And Daniel, I saw your comment, and I promptly pulled out that batch 131 cigar blend sample. So that is going to be a comparison I do tonight, as well as one other thing on that Fox and Oden. Top Dog, good to see you, man. R.U. Schlammered says, I'm looking forward to this tasting. I haven't had any of these. I've only had the 1792, but it's definitely an older batch. Jay, I see you. What's up, man? Sugar Kitty, Andrew Kelly. Thought you weren't going on tonight. No, I'm going on tonight. Next week, I will not have a stream on Thursday night. I have a concert. Daniel, it's a classy bottle. Got to give Fox and Oden. Yeah, it is very nice. My Lord for the win. Great name. Grab my first bottle of Rittenhouse Rye to get into rye whiskey. Nice. Yeah, you know, for rye whiskey, I can't remember much about Rittenhouse. I remember it being a little bit sharp, you know, but it's just been a long time since I've had it. So, yeah, I think that's one avenue to get into rye, and I think another avenue for you is going to be something a little bit more rye heavy, which some people would think that that's not a good way to do it, like to go 95% rye, 5% barley mash bill. I think sometimes a 95.5 is actually an easier way to get into rye, depending on which brand you go for. So in my opinion, check out Sagamore 8-Year Rye. I think it's a great introduction to high rye ryes, and you might consider that. It's a little more expensive than the Rittenhouse, but definitely worth it. Or Sagamore Cast Strength Picks, any of those things. Jay, I won't move my hands ever again. Daily, Annual, Weekly, what's up? Good to see you. John Cloud, good to see you. Thanks for coming back. Amy Bohm. Amy, I just recorded right before this, finally, that old Fitz 19 review. So that should be out tomorrow. I have time to wake up in the morning and just edit that thing and put it out. Got some new riff people are sipping on. John's not drinking Penelope Toasted after last week. Good call, John. Amy, Buzzard's Roost Toasted. I have some Buzzard's Roost, and actually a couple of samples from my friend James, and those samples are like my backups tonight. If I run out of things to taste on the table, then I'm going to go to those Buzzard's Roost. So that's kind of cool. See some dry weeks in here. Derek, what's up, man? I've been curious to see if Fox Oden stands up to the Remus. Derek, that's the comparison. Remus 6, Fox and Oden. I got it right here. So that is the comparison, and the new batch of cigar blend, just to see, because it's clearly younger stuff. Great minds, man. Pikesville, yeah, and definitely whoever was just saying that they were getting into rye whiskey. Let me scroll back. Malort for the win. Yeah. Check out Pikesville. That's a good in-between. $50, $45, $50, and it's a great one. Roy, what's up, man? Tim Tam Slam. I didn't know there were Rittenhouse rye picks. Honestly. So somebody in the chat advise on that, because I don't actually know if that's a thing. If it is, then I have totally missed it. All right, guys, please hit that like button. Please, please, please. Let's get some more folks hanging out. I'm going to start sipping on some whiskey, talking about some whiskey now. And here's where I want to start. I want to start with the Bardstown, okay? So I have avoided all reviews, so far at least, of any of the Bardstown origin stuff. For those of you who know me, I have watched the channel for a while, you know that I love, love, love Bardstown Bourbon Company products. However, recently, I would say over the last year or so, I've been slightly less enamored by Bardstown Bourbon Company. I think prices are going too high, and I think not only are the prices jumping, but the ages are falling. We're getting more toasted stuff, to try to make up seemingly for a lack of complexity maybe in base bourbon blends or base whiskey blends. I don't know what the case is, or maybe they just want to do some more toasted stuff. I don't care. At the end of the day, I think value for money it's not a great proposition right now. So I've avoided all reviews of the Origin series. They just hit Ohio. There's 2 of them out right now, which is a bottled and bond wheated bourbon. This one, 6 years old. And then there is a 94 or 96 proof high rye bourbon, which shares the same 36% rye mash bill as MGP, I believe. I was only going to buy one today, and I went with the bottled and bond wheated, because it's a wheater. I wanted to see what it was like. All right, so we're going to start with that, and I wanted to compare it to something. So I just pulled out a bottle that I've had open for, 2 years at this point, and you can see I still haven't put that much of a dent in it. straight up standard Larceny 92 proof. So it's 92 proof. This is 100. So I'm going to taste and kind of talk about the Bardstown origin first, then do the Larceny comparison. And I think that's the only comparison I want to do for this bottle. Unless something comes to mind for you guys out there that I have, that when I start talking about the notes. Otherwise, we're just going to get into this Bardstown origin, which is $50 MSRP on this bad boy. And bad boy, why did I say that? And then the Larceny is like $25. So we're looking at a totally different, class of bottle here, at least price tag wise. I don't have Rebel 100, but that would be a great comparison. Good call. Yeah, I don't have it. There's a couple of those like lower tier bottles, especially from Lux Row, that I just don't have, Like a lot of the Lux stuff blends together in my brain. The Nicholson, the Rebel. What else is there? There's some other stuff. Let's see. I'm going to check the chat here. Interesting. New for 2022, the Rittenhouse picks. Got one of the first ones to hit Michigan. Wow. That's interesting, So I would imagine if they're Rittenhouse picks, are they still bottled in bond? Are they still 100 proofers? And how old are they? Yeah, like are they 100 proof, and then also like what is the age on these things generally? Wow, Sugar Kitty, good for you. Whoa, okay, I see. Not medically cleared. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope everything's okay. Peter says Rebel 10. I don't think that's going to be a good comparison, just given the, age statement on that. Origin is replacing Fusion. I believe so. Yeah, I believe that's the case. All right, let's get into this here. I'll try to catch up. Oh, Brian, no, I have Rebel 10. I have Rebel 10. I just saw you say Rebel 100 up here. I was thinking it was like 100 proof, or that exists, right? A Rebel 100. But I have a Rebel 10, and I also have one of the old Rebel Yells. It's like 14 years old or something like that. All right, let's do this. All right, so first impression is that this thing smells hot. For a 100 proofer, when I smell this is like 115 to me. I mean, this thing is really coming off hot. First thing I get is a strong grain characteristic. So we're talking 6-year-old Bardstown Bourbon Company distillate, 68% corn, 20% wheat, 12% malted barley. At 6 years old, there's a lot of grain showing here. So not my favorite. And the other standout note for me is like lemon oil. So a lot of times you get some of these lemon characteristic citrus notes from a rye bourbon mash bill or a rye whiskey. There's no rye in the mix here, and you're getting a clear lemon oil note. So this reminds me of a couple different things. One would be Booker's, strangely enough, and Larceny Barrel Proof. And now the Larceny Barrel Proof to me makes sense. A lot of them are hot. They're sharp. They're about the same age as this. That's 6 to 8 for Larceny. This is 6. It has some of those really sharp notes to it. And that lemon oil note, I believe, comes out in some Larceny Barrel Proofs. Certainly comes out in Booker's. It does have a softness to it, but it's not old enough for that softness to like round out the whiskey. It's not an integrated component to the whiskey. It's just like one little aspect that you can hone in on when you smell it, but it hasn't made itself a characteristic of the entire thing, if that makes any sense. Like, I think as whiskey ages, things start to come together and integrate. I like that word a lot for that. And in this case, it just feels like a lot of disparate qualities that you're just ping-ponging back and forth from, and with an overall sense that it's just too young and too sharp. $50. I mean, think about what you can get for $50 on the market right now, all right? So Scott JG says, any other weeder than standard larceny. Being better than larceny doesn't say much. I haven't had it in a very long time, so that's why I'm extra curious about this comparison, because standard larceny is not something I come back to. At DC, this would be crazy, man. And also, good to see you, DC. Thanks for jumping in here, man. 55 in the chat. Hit that like button as we right now go into this Bardstown Origin Series Bottled and Bond Weeder. Robotic, I can't wait to try it tonight. Fusion is no more, says Derek. Okay, Brian says, I meant them as separate. Sorry to confuse. Okay, cool. I'm going to taste this thing. Let's get into it. I'll come back to the nose after I taste it. Maybe things will start to change a bit. Wow. That drink's way hotter than 100 proof. Good Lord. What an interesting whiskey. Let's put it that way. All right. So first sip, super hot, super spicy, white pepper fiesta in my mouth. It tastes like I just ate spicy food. That's how spicy this whiskey is. And that's kind of strange for a wheated bourbon. But back on the nose now, you're getting a kind of like this cocoa powder thing. You know, I talk about that sometimes. It's not like a chocolate bar, chocolate syrup. Straight up cocoa powder. So a little bit like lighter, a little bit more airy, which makes sense with the wheated bourbon to have that softness to it. But yeah, it's not quite that decadent chocolate note yet. It's just showing up as cocoa powder. Man, I don't know about this. I mean, I think this whiskey has a lot of potential at a higher age. You know, if you ever have the opportunity to taste whiskeys from the same producer year to year, like as they age, like a vertical or even something similar to that, and kind of get an understanding for how whiskeys from certain distilleries age at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years old as you move up, it's a good set of tastes and smells to call back on, because it allows you to understand the progression of these whiskeys. And I think this whiskey has a lot of potential as it ages. I said this about Blue Run also, which is Castle and Key distillate or contract distilled there. I think there's a lot of potential for aged Blue Run. I think there's a lot of potential for this. I think this needs like at least 4 more years in the barrel. It is so young and sharp right now. It's like larceny barrel proof at a lower proof, with even less aged notes on it. It's weird. Huh. Chad, well said about the Bardstown products nowadays. Too many, too much money, less I'm with you. Like Chateau de la Baude 2, maybe unfair, although I don't think so. I think that one really tanked for me. The Founders was fine, you know. For Colin, overpriced, but interesting. Triple blended stave finish, overpriced, but interesting. Plantation rum, pretty good, but $160 for finished Dickel. Come on. Like, all of those things. I don't even know what else. I haven't had the West Virginia barrel thing that they put out. Haven't had that one yet. Haven't had Discovery 9. But man, it's getting tough. It's getting tough for me with Bardstown. And I love Bardstown. It's like my first love for American whiskey. First distillery I ever visited, which is kind of not great because it's so modern, right? That shows you, like, I've only been into American whiskey for like 3 or 4 years. First distillery I went to, Bardstown. So I love it. But come on. It's just really sharp. Has anybody out there had this Origin series? I know it's just now seeing distribution. We just got it in Ohio. File as what a wheated bourbon smells and tastes like. Makers is not what comes to mind. Makers is just this offshoot by itself, this individual thing. So All right, so Larceny 92 proof small batch. Really soft on the nose, but really sweet. None of the rough edges. Oh my God, the Bardstown is so sharp. Yeah, the Larceny's kind of boring. It's kind of boring, but that's okay, I guess. For 25 bucks, you can't win them all. Oh, wow. I don't know about you guys. My YouTube numbers just like bounced around. I went like way down and then way up on people viewing. That was strange. So, I tell you what, I think Larceny might beat this thing out. This is a tough comparison. If you want a more intense whiskey out of these two, definitely the Bardstown is gonna win out on that. I mean, it's still drinking so hot. But if you just want something to sip on, if you're looking for a cheap wheated bourbon, and you're thinking even between these two, which are vastly different price points, and you're trying to figure out which one to buy, I say go for the Larceny. I mean, that's maybe a controversial thing to say. I don't know. But this Origin series, it just needs more time in the barrel. Whereas the Larceny has been watered down so much that I think it's approachable right now, even with its presumed youth. Oh, DC, okay, I buffered. That makes sense, because I wonder what was going on. 21090's picking up the Bardstown Origin series tomorrow. Okay. I will really be curious to know your opinion on that. Peter White could be worse. That could be the case. I am not a fan of 1792 Sweet Wheat. I'm going to add a little water to the Bardstown. Come on. One of these days, I'm just going to get a pipette out and actually do that the right way. Let's see how this does with some water. I think the water helps. I think a lower proof on this wheater is actually what you want. Just too young. It just needs more time in the barrel. It's grainy, it's textured, you know. Does not taste 6 years old. So if they have enough, it got more chocolatey though with water. If they have enough, inventory of these barrels, so that over the next couple of years, they can still churn these products out, but move the general age of them up past 6 years. I would really hope that that's the case, because this is just too young. Jay says, I think the bottle will open up. Maybe. But, you got to be able to impress right out of the bottle, I think, to some degree. So the Bardstown Origin wheated, I can't say it's a recommend for me. I'll say it has potential, and if you are somebody that wants to track the progress of Bardstown's distillate, somebody that wants to try different wheaters, totally cool. If $50 is not out of budget, pick one up, 100%. You can always use it for other things, ice, throw some water in it, mix it, whatever the case may be. But for me, if you're like, I've got $50 this month to buy a bottle, I don't think that Origin is the bottle for you to pick up. All right, so we could go a couple different directions, but I think Fox and Oden is the direction I want to go next. Even though it's a higher proof than 1792-12, I think Fox and Oden is what we should do because the age, it's a little bit younger. Yeah, and I agree here, especially when it's all your own distillate. It's got to be a wow out of the gate. I think so, too. They've had some of their distillate come out with picks from Rare Character, which is cool. In particular, I've had their rye, Matt Porter's ADHD single barrel rye, which is very good. Very different as well. But I think you're right. Like, they wanted to wait, and I'll give them credit for this. Bardstown has been saying for years they want to wait until their distillate is 6 years old to release it. And they did that. That's awesome. And we have to commend them for not dropping it at 4 years old, but it's just, I still don't think it's ready, you know. I need to taste the high rye stuff because I think the wheater in particular, like wheated stuff in my mind, needs more age than rye bourbon, than rye whiskey. There's kind of like a hierarchy there in my mind. And then I would be curious to taste the rye, even though I've already had it. It's very dill forward. John, you know, the Labad 2, if you're not comparing it, I'll snag it real quick because I'll just taste it very quickly. Let me just quickly taste this. Why not? It's been a couple of months, you know, since I complained about this profusely. So sorry if that happens again right now. Okay. DC says best budget wheater. Amy, if you're still in here, in that flight you sent me that I did that I was supposed to do with Trev that I ended up doing alone, that was a wheater flight, and there was a product in there from Lux Row. What was that, a David Nicholson product? Because whatever that was, I thought was pretty darn good. So, Amy, if you're here, yeah, you are. I'm seeing you comment right there. Let me know what that was. David Nicholson, I think. I don't think it was Johnny Drum. I'm not so familiar with a lot of these lower tier Lux Row products, or I don't know if they're low tier rather than just cheap. Nicholson 1843. I don't know about you guys. I actually thought that Nicholson and that blind, for me, like it did pretty well. I liked it. I thought it was Old Fitz, like a younger Old Fitz. Okay. All right. Chateau de la Baude 2, real quick here. Who was asking about it? Yeah, John. Let's see, John. Okay, you can smell the breadiness, the little bit of breadiness in the George Dickel quality, but I think it's kind of subsided as compared to what I remember it smelling like when I first popped the bottle open, which is nice. Okay, it's maybe coming back now. Now that I'm really thinking about it. I get a lot of apricot on here. That's definitely a characteristic that you're going to get from the Armagnac casks. Seems like the Armagnac casks they use in Chateau de la Baude 2 were not as good. Like, I have a theory, and I don't know that this theory is correct, so it might mean nothing. I think they probably reused some of the casks from Chateau de la Baude 1. Again, totally speculation, because it seems like the Armagnac cask influence is less on batch 2. It's coming across more like apricot as opposed to really, really dark, like fig notes. Yeah, I'm just getting a lot of toasted bread, like apricot preserves, some chocolate. Yeah, citrus, orange, this kind of thing. So it's definitely like mid-range notes. It's not super dark. It's also not super light. There, that's what I remember. The texture on the palate, it's so textured. It feels gritty on your tongue. It's like you're drinking something that you've like mixed sugar in, but the sugar hasn't dissolved all the way, and you can taste the granular, you know, the granular kind of quality on your tongue. Yeah, it's just fine. It's not offensive. It's not offensive. Is it a $160 bottle? I don't think so. But if you've got it, you know, you might enjoy it. I think a lot of people might enjoy that stuff. So I'll go ahead and put that back away now. All right. If you guys ever have any questions like that on the stream, no, Daniel, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Oh no, I hate that. I hope I'm not that guy. I really do. But if I am that guy, you got to call me out. So thank you. No, a lot of the Lux Row stuff at the very beginning of me getting into American whiskey, I found that I didn't like it. And so it was Lux Row and Willet, actually. A lot of the standard offerings, I was like, I just don't want to get into these because I'm not a fan. That puts me at a disadvantage sometimes in blind flights because a lot of times low-end Lux Row comes up in blinds and I don't know what they are. So it's tough, but I would say I've gotten mostly familiar with low-end products, stuff that still comes in glass, not plastic. You know what I mean? Like, to some degree, you hit a certain point, it's like I haven't tasted a lot of the like $10 stuff, but hey man, there's probably some truth in there, and there's probably some truth in there. So after a lot of other whiskey channels this week have been catching a bunch of shit for people in the comments, oh, I'll never get this bottle. It's like, yeah, and you also watch videos where people win $500,000 from Mr. Beast and you don't bitch about that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on. What are we talking about? Rebel Distillers Collection Store picks. Yeah, $40, 113 proof. Yeah, I didn't think about picks. If you're talking about picks, I would imagine some of those Rebel picks are probably good. I like that David Nicholson. Am I crazy, guys? Was it just because it was a blind flight? Or do some of you out there actually like Nicholson 1843? Yeah, the Lux Row 12 is a different story. That's incredible whiskey. Yeah, Chad, like to me, the Chateau de la Baude 2, if it was a $70 price point, at most, it makes sense to me. But otherwise, you're paying for the name of the first batch and the recognition and reputation of the first batch. You're paying for the Armagnac cask cost. You're paying for a lot of the logistics and a lot of the marketing and perception of batch 1. That's why batch 2 is $160, and it's in their collaborative series. All of them are $160 now, which I don't think is a good price point for that. Like, I would love to know what the profit margin is for them on their collaborative series. How much are they making per bottle at $160 per bottle, given the cost of sourcing, the cost of barrel finishing, and all this stuff? And if it's slim, then I'll eat my words. But it feels like it's turning into a money grab, and I'm getting, with the acquisition, the Bardstown acquisition, all that stuff, you just start to look at it and wonder what's going on. Again, this is all speculation. Journeyman, yeah, talking about the corsets, whips, and whiskey stuff. Yeah. That one's a little funky, but a good choice. Good value, for sure. All right, so take a closer look here. Fox and Oden. I don't know. There's some association here, right, with does Nancy Fraley blend this stuff? Guys, do you know? I think there's some association with Nancy with Fox and Oden, but I could be totally wrong. So we have some very nice comparisons, very fun comparisons to do with this one. 99 proof, 49.5% ABV. This is batch number 1 that I'm tasting. Labeled straight bourbon whiskey, distilled in Indiana on the back. It's produced and bottled in Holland, Michigan by Fox and Oden, which is where Joseph Magnus is now. It's also where New Holland is, Dragon's Milk. You guys probably know that if you're into beer. What else? 8 to 15 years old in this blend. 8 to 15, and it is both the 21 and the 36% rye mash bills from MGP. Okay, Derek and Daniel are saying they're not sure if Nancy's involved, not sure who blends it, but it's the same parent company as Magnus. Chad says about the Bod Batch 2, it is a cash grab. My uncle owned a liquor store in Denver. My uncle owned a liquor store in Denver and sold me the Prisoner at his cost, which was less than $70. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Robotic, that's good. All right. So Fox and Oden first, and then we're going to go compare this to Remus Repeal Batch 6 and to this sample of Magnus Cigar Blend Batch 131. Who sent me this Magnus Batch 131? Amy, this looks like your handwriting. Amy, let me know if you sent me the 131 Magnus cigar. Yeah, I think it's Amy's handwriting. Amy and Daniel P. have very similar handwriting on their samples. Maybe that's a lie. I think Daniel P. might be an all caps person. Okay. All right. Amy says it was hers. Okay. So, I don't know what to think of this right away. It's really fruity. It's kind of like a sour green apple candy. Okay, so there's a lot going on here in this. And I think actually what I like about it is that a lot of the notes are is integrated the right word? It's very homogeneous. All right, the what's coming out of the glass of this, I don't know if you've had this experience with some whiskeys that you guys have like sat with and nosed. Sometimes you get a lot of notes that are clearly definable. You know, you can immediately get certain spices, fruit, caramelized notes, whatever. And some whiskeys come out as one whole to your nose, and you have to really work to pick it apart. And this one is like that. It's super homogeneous. So on one end of this, I'm getting all of this fruitiness. Everything from this sour green apple candy down to like plums. I mean, it runs the gamut of fruit, which is quintessential like MGP for me. On the other side of it, I'm getting some distinct sweetness, vanilla, and a note that I sometimes talk about in wheated bourbon, which is like a white cake note. And there's also something a little bit herbal in there, reminiscent of that 36% rye MGP mash bill. But I think it's a little bit flat. Like it seems like the whiskey, the blend, or maybe the amount of water that's been added has flattened it out just a little bit too much. And maybe that's why it feels so homogeneous, is because there's a little bit too much water in it, or the blend, there's something not playing well within it. Say it, don't spray it. Just poured whiskey down my face. Let's try that again. Just spicy and fruity. It's $100. All right, so we're talking $100, 8 to 15 year MGP. We don't know what the percentage of that blend is in terms of age statements. It's got a lot of nice standard MGP notes, but is it worth $100? It's a little thin. Like, that's my one complaint, is there's more spice, but not enough, 10%, 15% lacking in body to support the spice of the whiskey. But I think it's pretty good. This comparison is gonna be really good for this one, because the Bardstown, when I tasted it right away, it was like, no, I'm not into this. This one is kind of a question mark for me. And I think this Remus Repeal Batch 6 comparison is gonna be really telling. 100 proof here. Primarily, this is 8-year-old bourbon, and then quite a bit of 10-year. and just a smidge of 14 year. All right, but for all intents and purposes, these are basically the same age. 8 to 15 year blend, 8 to 14 year blend. So let's see how this goes. And then after this comparison, I want to put it next to a new batch of cigar blend, which is going to be a higher proof, but I want to see if there's a relationship between flavor profiles with these things, even though that one obviously is going to have an Armagnac cask finish in the mix. Marshall, thank you so much. Guys, hit that like button, please. If you don't mind, if you're hanging out tonight, it's free and it really, really helps the channel. All right, so let's check out Remus 6. Dustin, proof on Fox and Oden on this one is 99. So we have a 99 versus a 100 proofer. These are like so damn close on the nose. You in a blind flight. These might be mistaken for the exact same whiskey. So, Remus Batch 6 in Ohio was 120 this time around, where Batch 5 was 100. And again, Fox and Oden is 100. So, let's say 100 versus 120 bucks. So, I'll go Fox and Oden on the palate, then go over to the Remus. Dustin, it's not barrel proof. No. All right, over to the Remus now. Whoa. The Remus is completely flat. I mean, it's like on the nose, I did not expect that, but on the palate, the Remus just completely disappeared, and the Fox and Oden has so much spice. Oh, that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. Fox and Oden all the way. I already knew that I wasn't a big fan of Remus 6, but the Remus 6 might have 5% more fruit and 5% more sweetness, but it's completely flat on the palate. No spice to ramp that thing up. Fox and Oden, I think all the way. Wow. Harrison Juliana says, what's good, y'all? What's good with you? Jeffrey Wack, what's up, man? Roy N. White cake is a good description for wheated. Yeah, I think I get white cake on two types of things. One is a really young bourbon, like 2 years old. Sometimes you get that note. And the other one, because it's like a granular thing, or like a grain thing, And then on wheated bourbons, I think when you have a wheated bourbon, it takes longer for the whiskey to show age, which means that the grain shows through for a longer period of time as it ages till you hit like 8, 10, 12 years old. And along the way, that white cake note just shows. It's that softness from the wheat, but it's also, because there's no rye, which is a really heavy flavor grain, wheat to me is not a heavy flavor. Wheat is almost just like not even there. You know what I mean? It almost doesn't even add anything, whereas rye really adds something to the mash bill. It's just, I'm trying to I have like an abstraction in my mind of how I think about that, so I don't want to go too deep into that, because I'll probably just talk myself into a circle. Daniel, I say get rid of the Remus 6, dude. It is not. I love Matt Porter, but I think he had it in his top 10. I don't agree with that. I think Remus 6 is I don't know. But I think, look, there is something a little more maybe aged about the Remus 6 on the nose, whereas the whereas the Fox and Oden is, yeah, it might not have quite as much oak on it, but it's better. I don't know. It's hard to tell. They're just so close. But I think if Matt had Fox and Oden, I think Matt would put Fox and Oden over Remus 6. I do believe that. Robotic. Put it up against... No. Remus 5 would smack Fox and Oden. That's not even fair. Derek, great call. Although, if I could rewind time, right before everybody found out how good Remus 5 was, I would buy a case. I only have one backup of Remus 5. And, you know, secondary is not that much on it. It's like 150. That's not cheap, but SRP is 100. And so I still don't want to go pay 150 for it, though. I'm just being stingy. It's like Knob Creek 15-year picks. People like didn't want to pay over $100 for them for a long time, and now they've gone up, and Knob Creek 12 cast strength is like 250 secondary now. It's like, what is happening? Where did the value of Knob Creek suddenly, when did that suddenly shoot up? I have no idea. Yeah, I'm a fan. Fox and Oden, I'm a fan. It's not the greatest MGP. Like, one thing about MGP, guys, and I would love to know your thoughts on this as well. I think it's really clear to me when I drink an MGP product that it's a blend. You can taste a profile that feels more general on the palate, whereas single barrel MGP, and maybe this is true for any single barrel to small batch comparison, but specifically MGP in this case, I can taste like a singular profile in MGP. It becomes very clear to me that it's a single barrel. I get one interesting blind flight idea for that would be for me to set up 5 glasses and have some of them be small batch MGP products and some be single barrels. Maybe similar, maybe different ages, and see if I could discern between which ones are which. Because that's an interesting thing, you know? Singular profiles versus blended profiles that are going for something more rounded. And I think actually, sorry to keep yapping, I'll taste whiskey in a second. I think this is my issue with Four Roses LEs. And I'm going to offend somebody in the chat here. What's up, Alex? The king of Four Roses LEs and all Four Roses. I think the Four Roses LEs are a little confused a lot of the time. Like there's too much in the blend. And then I get a Four Roses tier 3, tier 4, 5, 6. Doesn't really matter. Single barrel. And you taste the singularity of that profile. And I like that more than most LEs. I have an OESQ, tier 6 OESQs from that great run that happened. The TS85, I think, is, you know, whatever that run was. I don't remember. The Bevmo single barrel. I would take that over most LEs I've ever had. Daniel, dude, those things, I think you sent me that maybe. But those Magnus single barrels, those aged ones, insane. Yeah. I just think a lot of these blends, people try to do too much with them. Dustin Volstead for the win. I agree with you. All right, let's get this this new cigar blend in the mix. So I'm gonna start stacking these so you guys can tell what I'm sipping on. So I'll put the glasses in front of the bottles. I need to keep enough of this cigar blend in case I want to throw this into a video. Half an ounce should be good. Jeb, oh, Jesus Christ, Jeb, dude. I owe you a message. I'm so sorry. I have not checked the Drums and Drams messages in like a week or something, dude. I've only been messaging on my personal page. I'm sorry. Jeb, I owe you a message. I'm in line at the grocery store. What are you getting, dude? Anything cool? Anyways. All right, so this is batch 131 cigar blend, 114 proof. I think I tasted it last week or the week before. And so up against this Fox and Oden. The cigar blend, 114 proof definitely shows it. Very similar nose, though. Very fruity. Young on the cigar blend. I'm getting like clear grain notes, like 6-year MGP grain notes. Weird. It hits your palate and it feels like you're drinking two different things that are being blended. Like as you drink it, it's like I'm tasting two 2 different liquids. That's so strange. I hate to say this, but I actually... This is the Chateau de la Baude Batch 2 from, like, a little bit ago. The Chateau de la Baude Batch 2 is doing it way more for me right now than the Magnus Cigar Blend 131. There's some tobacco on the cigar blend. All right, but the La Baude Batch 2, definitely darker, fuller, richer. I mean, look, Fox and Oden doesn't have quite the umph of the cigar blend. But the cigar blend, the new ones, if this is how all the new ones are, doesn't, unfortunately, resemble the old cigar blends. And so because of that, in this comparison, I think value-wise, Fox and Oden is winning on all of these. It's not the best whiskey I've ever had, for sure, but... and definitely not the best MGP, but $100, $120. Cigar Blend's going to be $180. Chateau de la Baude Batch 2 is $160, which is probably coming in second place out of all these. It shouldn't even really, it's not even in this comparison, but now I'm kind of including it. I say Fox and Oden, and then I say Chateau de la Baude Batch 2 over Cigar Blend 131 over Remus 6. So, I don't know. What are we here for? This, which is a no-go for me. This, which at $100 seems a little steep for what it is, but I would say if you want a reliable MGP sipper, Fox and Oden 99 proof, I think yes. I think it's, if $100 is in your wheelhouse, not a bad way to spend that if you're looking for a good MGP sipper. Dustin, I think this is the case. I have no confirmation on it, and I haven't read anything she's put on the website with tasting notes to talk about the blend or whatever, but it's got to be way younger. People have said that's the case. And I don't know if it's solely MGP or if there's still some Barton in the blend. Roy, I promise I'm going to get back to reviewing Scotch. I'm trying to get onto... the content stuff has to become more regular for me to get there, you know, 3 videos a week so that I can get to that. Yeah. So as soon as that's happening, then Scotch will come back. But until then, you know, I'm just trying to keep things happening right now, which is a good time for me to say tomorrow I'm going to release the Old Fitz 19 review that I've got. I recorded it before this stream started. So, yeah, Roy, it will happen, man. And your scotches, I'm looking at it right now. I have a shelf of samples to review, and it's staring me in the face. So I will get to that. I do promise you. But again, I want to go through a peated whiskey week where I'm like really drinking a lot of peated whiskey, peated scotch, so that I can have my palate acclimated to when I get to that Lagavulin, because a $5,000 bottle deserves some time investment from me to kind of prepare myself for it, you know? I'm getting, hang on. Gotta check this message. Oh, it's Alex in the chat. With a Four Roses bottle. Derek says, after batch 99, it's been no age statement, non-age stated on the tasting notes page so far. So there you go. Aiden, your boy is now the proud. What's up, Aiden? Turkey 12 year. Let me know how it is. Yeah, Daniel. Roy has this. Roy, is it a 1985 Lagavulin? You'll have to remind me the specs on it. So yeah, it's some dude, Daniel, some crazy Lagavulin, and he sent it over to Mike and Dustin. Top Shelf Whiskey, I think is what it is. I think their channel's Top Shelf Whiskey now. And I watched their review of it, and they loved it. So okay. So let's be done with this comparison. So it's time to get into 1792 now. 1792 12 year. And I have a few bottles to compare to this one. And also, as I'm going, guys, if you have any requests, any comparisons you'd like to see, any things you're curious about, let me know, and I'm happy to grab anything that's behind me, or I have some things in front of me, lots of samples people have sent. Happy to grab them and taste those things for you. Yeah, Daniel. It's like, I'm trying to think about the most expensive bottles I've ever tasted. Like the Michter's 20, which I did record a video. I have that. I just need to edit it. That Lagavulin going to be up there. The Hirsch that Matt sent me, I think is like in that ballpark, like $4,000 to $5,000 for that Hirsch 16 year. Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep track of some of these things, some of these insane samples people send, but crazy, man. All right. 1792 12 year. Hey, guys, for those of you who do jump over to other live streams at 9 p.m., which is now, I suppose, I can kind of see the number go down. Hit that like button on your way out. Thank you for being here. If you do bow out now for the rest of the night, if you do jump in, jump out, come back and forth, I appreciate that as well. At the end of the day, it's just nice to have you here. So thank you so much. John, I don't know about this. I have no idea. I think it's probably, for now, probably just going to be for the Asian markets because of the kind of the Turkey connection to those markets. But I would love to see it. We get Russell's 13, but obviously that's really hard to find. What's up, Toshi? I didn't know you were in here. Maybe I did, and I just haven't put one of your comments up yet. All right. So here's a story with 1792 12 year. I reviewed this bottle like right when the channel started. I don't know, 2 years ago, I think. And I was doing at the time those quick sips where I was like no edits in the videos, just doing it straight through tasting. And I've kind of gotten away from that now. I don't think I want to do those anymore. So that's why you haven't really seen any quick sips from me over the last couple months. It's easier to do, but I just don't think it's as effective. Anyways, I did a quick sip on 1792 12 year, and it was a sample that Dave Rosas had sent me. And at the time, I was so enamored by all the sourced Barton out there. I loved it. Augusta Buckner, Sam Houston, Calumet, all that kind of stuff. So when I tasted 1792 12 year, I just had a preconception going into it. And I let that play through. And I was like, this is just not as good as all the source stuff. Why? The other day, I ran across the rest of that sample back here. Right there. In this sample, shelf. And I drank the rest of it. And I was like, holy shit, this tastes like candy. This tastes so good, the 1792 12. So a buddy of mine was in Michigan last week, got me the Fox and Oden, and picked up the 1792 12 year because I was like, I think I really like this, and I want to give it its due instead of, having my one opinion that no one's probably ever seen because it's such an early video out there about it. So that's why I picked this up. The comparison I'll do today is an old bottle, I know, but the Sam Houston 12, I thought let's go stat for stat, and then also let's move away from Barton source stuff and let's put it up against Knob 12 because I think that's a good comparison. There we go. From Roy here, he says 85 Lagavulin 21 year. Yeah. Crazy. Cool. So here is the 12 year 1792. It's 96.6 proof. Kind of a weird proof. All right. So as far as aged Barton goes, this okay. This reminds me a little bit more of sourced aged Barton than it does the sample of the 12-year that I had. The sample that I had, which was probably from a much earlier batch, was really candied cherry. This one is definitely reminding me more of that kind of dark cherry Dr. Pepper kind of note. Like the aged Barton thing is coming through here more than I got on the last sample that I had, which made me want to buy this. But at this proof, it's a little bit lower, 96.6. It's super sweet. It doesn't have a lot of that like oaky bitterness to it that a lot of sourced Barton does. So yes, cherry Dr. Pepper, but also a ton of sweet vanilla. Very fruity. I want to taste it. A little bit smoky, too. Ooh. Oh my God, berries. So many berries. Like some sort of mixed berry jam or compote. Yeah, I don't know. Wow. Aiden, thanks for stopping by, man. Hope you're doing well. Congrats on that Turkey 12. Man, this 1792 12 year is really good. And SRP is not that high. I think it's like 40 or 50 bucks. I paid too much for this. I paid 100 for this. We don't see it in Ohio really. And so in Michigan, it was on the shelf at 100. My buddy got it for me. And so, you know, it is what it is. That is like a perfect daily drinker. Damn. That's good stuff. It's really good. I want to see how it compares to the Sam Houston 12, which is at 98 proof instead of 96.6. So let's just say it's the same. Also with the 12-year age statement. And this is a couple years old at this point. I mean, this was probably released in like 2020 or even before that, maybe. Let's see. Way more bitter. The Sam Houston is exceptionally more bitter than that 1792. Yeah, like charcoal, charred wood. Inside of the barrel, basically, you know? But it's actually way softer on the palate, which is strange. Much sweeter over here. Chocolate cake now coming through on the 1792 12 year. Did not get that before this comparison. I think there is good spice to that Sam Houston. I got to clear my palate and go back to that comparison one more time. Bogies and Barrels says, haven't seen a 12 on a shelf in 2 years in Georgia. Yeah, I saw a few in 2021 when I was in Indiana, but they were just stragglers, you know? I really, like, I remember between the Sam Houston 14 and 12, I actually 9 times out of 10 preferred the 12. 15, different story. But I really liked the balance of the 12 because I thought the 14 had too much of what I consider to be furniture polish. It's a note that I think a lot of aged Barton can get, especially at lower proofs. It's like ginger, furniture polish, something like that. Lemon Pledge, yeah. All right, let me go back in for this. Before I do, I'll pour the Knob Creek 12. Okay. Guys, please, again, quick reminder, hit that like button if you would not mind. All right, back into this. 1792. Sam Houston. Sam Houston's just much more bitter. I'm trying to figure out the spice on the palate, though. It's comparable. The Sam Houston is just a more black pepper barrel char spice, and the 1792 is just a really balanced kind of oak spice, just general, I don't know, general like baking spice profile. I think the balance of the 1792 12 year is spot on, and that is what I failed to pick up on, in my first review of it. I just thought it was underwhelming because it wasn't hit me over the head with bitterness and higher proof and everything like the Sam Houstons and other aged sourced Bartons were doing at the time. So, with that said, we top off my glass. I'm going to go through this 1792 12 year. I'm going to go through this bottle very quickly, unfortunately. It is like the candidate for my daily sipper right now. Scary stuff. Marshall, I wonder how Weller 12 is. Yeah, I think the proof would hurt it. But hang on. Hang on. There we go. I have the remainder of some Weller 12 from 2019 in here, and I also have another 100 milliliter flask with it I've decanted into. Let me get another glass. All right. I can do that. I can do that comparison. I think the proof is going to hinder it, but why not? Why not do that comparison before the Knob Creek 12? Because the Knob Creek is going to be a higher proof, so I may as well kill this Weller 12. All right. So let's see. Is there even whiskey in this glass? It's whiskey. It's like LaCroix, you know? LaCroix, people talk about it's like flavored static or whatever. It's like it's not even there. Yeah, this Weller 12, it's like I can't even tell there's whiskey in the glass. But I don't want that to hurt it. It's a 90 proofer and it's a wheater. So I want to keep those things in mind. Super sweet. What I can smell is incredibly sweet. Man. It's just not even there. Like, after even tasting 96 proof stuff, going down to this Weller 12 at 90, which drinks more like 85, it doesn't even compare. The flavors are so good, but it's such a low proof. Yeah. Dang. Got to start your night with that, I guess. So, anyways, 1792 12, now up against Knob Creek 12. I'm going to stand by 1792 12 year being just berries and berries for days. Could not be two more different profiles between these two. There is so much tobacco in Knob Creek 12 when I put it next to the 1792. Just tobacco and chocolate. Wow. That's crazy. Usually to me it's really peanut forward. It's funky leather. And that's there, but most of what I'm getting is tobacco and chocolate. And then I go back to 1792, and it's super vanilla, super sweet. which those are the notes that get brought out next to the Knob Creek as opposed to all the berries and like fruit stuff that I was talking about a second ago. This is the importance of doing side-by-sides because tasting on its own, I think, gives you an idea of what a whiskey's profile is. And then putting it side-by-side not only gives you an idea of what the differences are between the two whiskeys, but it also highlights certain notes that pop out because of how they play against each other when you are smelling them side-by-side and tasting them side-by-side. It's interesting. I love that 1792. God. Now over to the Knob Creek 12. Man, that's tough. Something about the Knob Creek 12 feels artificial to me. I don't know why. In this comparison, it's like the 1792 12 year is like organic. And the Knob Creek is like artificial. I don't even know if that makes sense to say that. I think if you out there, if any of you in the live chat had these two to do side by side, I'd love to hear your thoughts on you doing that because that's what comes to mind to me. It's like this feels natural and organic, whatever that even means, and this feels like a little bit artificial. Huh. Anyways, let me check out the chat. Dustin, 1792 did the same thing to me. Bought a bottle, drank it, didn't like it, gave it to father-in-law 6 months later. Yeah, I don't know if it was the oxygen in the sample, like the airtime that it had, or if it maybe was the batch variant, or... Not sure. Tom Snyder, what's up, man? Jeb likes a 1792 12 more so, a little more old bookstore vibe. That's interesting. I would give the bookstore vibe, well, maybe not actually. I thought I would give it to Knob Creek 12, but maybe it's just that Knob Creek 12 reminds me of a darker profile, which leads me towards oak, leather, dusty. But in and of itself, not any associations to it, just isolating Knob Creek 12 by itself actually doesn't have that dusty bookstore thing. Interesting. I think I could see why you would say that, Jeb. Roy, Weller 13. There you go, Weller 12. I was going to say, man, you got the rare Weller 13. Yeah, I don't know. I think both of these, this is a tough comparison, and I think both of these, I like these as daily drinkers. Again, this is all budget dependent. I know this is a $60 to $70 bottle. This is a $40 to $100 bottle, probably, depending on what area you're in. I like these both as like great examples of what aged whiskey, somewhat accessible. Like this one is probably more rare than the Knob Creek, but depending on your area, sometimes these things are on shelves in certain places. So semi-accessible, pretty affordable. If you're looking for something that's not $20, like daily whiskeys, these are great examples of what I recommend. People like I've said this before, different price ranges, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60. There's a weird gap between like $50 and like 70 to 80, where it's kind of like a no man's land of whiskey right now. That no man's land of whiskey in terms of value shifts over time. And I think the range has increased a little bit because every price has gone up. So in that range now for me, like 60, 70 bucks, Knob Creek 12, because Larceny and Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, the last batches were good showings for both, especially for recent times, but they're not available. And Knob Creek 12 is more available. This is less available, so it's tougher for me to say that. But both of these, I think, are great whiskeys, and I really highly recommend them. Yeah, Amy, and I think 1920 is like 50, right? 55. So I guess, yes. I guess I wasn't including that because that's an easy one. Like that one to me is with Rare Breed, which is like 45 to 50. But it's like once you're past those, like what's in that territory? Yeah, Roy. When I go to New York, when I go to like upstate New York, Knob Creek 12 is everywhere for $60, which is cool. Kentucky pretty available too. Ohio, very rarely does that make it here. Robotic says Knob Creek 12 is awesome, but compared to the 1792 Juggernaut, it does come across as synthetic. Yeah, that's a great word for that. I said artificial, but synthetic is probably a better word. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Sometimes I get a rubber note from some whiskeys, usually double oaked whiskeys. In this Knob 12 right now, I'm kind of getting that rubbery note. That doesn't come off to me so much when I'm drinking other similar whiskeys next to it, but the 1792 is so different that I think it stands out more. Jeb says, your 1792 is too full. Yeah, I just popped it open today, so I just got it. That's good to know, though. Halfway in, it'll be glorious. I should pour a sample of this out and keep it, oxygen-free, or air-free, and see how that affects it. Oh, Amy says, okay, so those are... Okay, so I mean... Yeah, Amy, it's hard to talk price, but basically outside of the 1920 range, let's say, like that $20 above 1920, it's like what do you get in that price range that's available or even semi-available that's not once, twice, 3 times yearly allocated release? Yeah, Ben, I agree. Knob is definitely more nutty, Roy. I agree with that. Mike Franklin says Knob Creek is my 12 at Knob Creek 12 is my favorite Knob Creek besides the 120 proof single barrel. Yeah. 18 is like you took the 12 year and put it on steroids, but to me the 15 year is different than both of them for some reason. I just love the 1792. I can't get enough of it. I cannot get enough of that. It's so good. I wish this bottle, if this was on every shelf, God, if this was available, this would be the one. I'm telling you, this would be the daily sipper for me. It's so good. Well, guys, I've pretty much gotten through what I wanted to get through tonight. And it's a little early, but been a little bit of a weird week. I had all the best intentions of being hyper productive this week, and it just all of that has fallen apart. I don't know why, but I don't know if you guys ever feel this way. And as somebody, like, I guess I have a day job now, like in the symphony, like I would consider that like a day job. But to me, I'm still basically a freelancer, musician, content. Like I do, a lot of different stuff. It's easy to be like, I think, harder on yourself when you're kind of self-employed or freelance in terms of productivity. But even saying that, I still have been highly unproductive this week. It's just, I've just been in a weird headspace. So I thought I was going to be getting like a bunch of content out this week, finally, and it just didn't happen. So I recorded, like I said, before this live stream started, and I came into tonight's live stream like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have these new bottles. And I was like, let's just do those and kind of do what I did last week. But sorry if this live stream's been a little bit boring, kind of, I don't know. Just felt weird for me. So I do apologize if that's the case. Yeah, Joe, that stuff is on no shelves. I know. I wish it were on shelves. That's what I'm saying. If the 1792 were on shelves, man, that would be awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, sometimes you're kind of in like a lull. No, the vibe is very mellow, and that's how I felt this week. So I was like, I almost felt like not doing a live stream tonight. Just like, I don't think I'm in the headspace to do it. I don't think I'm going to be able to give a good show. So thanks, guys. I appreciate your kind words. I'm not saying this to get positive reinforcement, like just letting you know where my head's at. But thanks, guys. I appreciate you being here. I'm not sure who is on right now. Go check them out. So, support other whiskey channels and everything like that. But yeah, I would say out of this stuff, if you guys have the opportunity to try the Bardstown Origin, not only this one that I had tonight, the weeded bottled and bond, but the high rye bourbon, and then when the rye comes out, based on the weeded bourbon, I would say try before you buy all three. Given the price points too, $45, $50. The Fox and Oden, if for, I don't know what the distribution's like on this, but if you come across it at $100, if that's not a crazy price point for you, you want an MGP sipper that's reliable but not going to knock your socks off. Fox and Oden, 99 proof straight bourbon, not the malted American single malt. They have some other offerings. It would be the 99 proof straight bourbon whiskey. So you got to make sure it's the right one with this kind of like gray white label. It beat out Remus 6 tonight. It beat out new cigar blend batches, in my opinion. Your mileage may vary on that if you're a proof hound. And then finally, 1792 12 year, incredible. I say 70, 80 bucks up to that price. I'm picking up a 1792 12 year. I paid $100 for this. Little regrettable. It's $100, but really good. And I think I like it better than Knob Creek 12 in terms of a sipper if you can find it at a comparable price point. So there you go. All right, guys, I'm going to jump out of here. Tuesday, we will have a Tuesday taste along. Not sure the bottle just yet. No live stream next Thursday. Going to do my best between now and next Thursday to get out 3 videos for you guys. The Old Fitz 19, the Michter's 20, which I just need to go and edit. I have that shot, and one more. That's my goal. I don't know if I'll meet it, but tomorrow, barring tragedies, I should have Old Fitz 19 out tomorrow before I go to rehearsal at 7 p.m. So there you go. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Cheers. Hit the like button on your way out. If you're watching the replay, I appreciate you. If it was a weird episode, I'm sorry. Little mental funk here and there, as Chad says. So cheers, guys. See you soon.